Stop scrolling right now, because what just erupted in the celebrity world makes every so-called shock breakup before it look painfully small. This is not a quiet split. This is not a mutual decision. This is a breaking point confession that detonated behind closed doors and is now ripping through the internet at full speed. Teyana Taylor has finally reached her limit, and the words she's letting out are shaking everything we thought we knew. For months, fans believed they were watching a flawless love story unfold in real time. The chemistry, the elegance, the way they looked untouchable. But behind that picture-perfect image, something was rotting, and sources say Teyana has been carrying it alone. Until now. Insiders describe an emotional collapse so intense it stunned everyone in the room. Tears. Long silences. One sentence repeated over and over, "I can't stay silent anymore." And the man at the center of it all. Pierre. The internet's golden boy. The one nobody expected to be the villain in this story. But suddenly, leaked whispers, private conversations, and suspicious timelines are surfacing, and the narrative is flipping in real time. Fans are scrambling. Comment sections are exploding. Old clips are being re-examined like crime scene footage. And what's coming out suggests this wasn't just a breakup, it was a slow, calculated unraveling. Because once Teyana started talking, it became clear this wasn't about falling out of love. It was about realizing she may have been the only one who was ever truly in it. And trust me, what she reveals next changes everything. It didn't explode all at once. It crept in quietly, the kind of silence that feels louder than screaming. Right after the holidays, when fans expected cozy photos and soft smiles, there was nothing. No updates. No warmth. Just a strange emptiness where Teyana Taylor and Pierre used to be. At first, people brushed it off as privacy. Then posted one photo. Just one. Sharp lighting. Calm stare. Effortless perfection. And within minutes, the internet went feral. His comment section flooded with women acting like a door had just swung open. "You single? Taking applications. I'm here if you need a shoulder." It wasn't playful. It was predatory. And according to sources close to Teyana, that moment was when everything cracked. Insiders say Teyana saw the post immediately. She didn't comment. She didn't react publicly. She just stared at her phone while notifications poured in from friends asking if she was okay, if she'd seen the comments, if she knew people were already acting like she'd never existed. That silence. It wasn't strength. It was shock. Because behind the scenes, what fans didn't know was that the relationship hadn't ended cleanly. There was no closure. No real conversation. Just distance that grew colder by the day. According to someone inside her circle, Teyana had been feeling something was off for weeks. Missed calls disguised as busy schedules. Conversations that felt rushed, emotionally hollow, almost transactional. She would open up and he would pivot. Career talk. Travel. Timing. Always timing. One source claims she finally confronted him through a long, emotional message that wasn't accusatory, just honest. She asked why she felt like she was showing up fully while he stayed halfway out the door. She asked if what they had was real to him, or just convenient. Then she waited. Hours passed. Then a full day. Then another. No response. That silence, insiders say, broke something in her. This wasn't just any relationship. This was her first public love after divorce. The first time she allowed herself to be seen vulnerable again. Friends say she defended him fiercely early on, shutting down anyone who questioned his emotional availability. She believed him when he said he was just private. She trusted that calm didn't mean cold. But suddenly, memories she once brushed off started replaying differently. The birthdays where he never posted. The red carpets where his smile never reached his eyes. The way he always arrived polished, but left early. And then came the conversation that insiders describe as devastating. A private call. Voices raised, then lowered. Long pauses where neither knew what to say. At one point, Teyana allegedly asked him directly if he saw a future. Not a fantasy. A real one. According to a source who heard about the call immediately after, his answer wasn't cruel, but it was careless. He reportedly said he didn't think about things that far ahead. That he didn't want pressure. That he thought they were just enjoying the moment. For Teyana, that sentence landed like betrayal. Because while he was enjoying the moment, she was investing in permanence. And that's when the emotional breakdown happened. Friends say she cried uncontrollably after the call, repeating the same question. So what was I to you? That question haunted her. Meanwhile, Aaron's public presence remained untouched. Calm. Smiling. Untethered. Fans noticed the contrast immediately. Her energy disappeared from social media while his confidence seemed to double. As speculation grew, fans started pulling receipts. Old interviews. Red carpet clips. Body language slowed down and analyzed frame by frame. People noticed she always leaned in. He often stood just slightly away. And then a rumor slipped into private group chats that changed everything. Someone claiming to know someone close to Aaron alleged he once referred to the relationship as good optics. The phrase spread like wildfire. No one could confirm it. No one could deny it. And suddenly, the entire relationship was under suspicion. The internet split in half. One side defended Aaron, saying he owed no one emotion on demand. The other side rallied behind Teyana, calling her a victim of emotional detachment masked as maturity. Celebrities quietly chose sides. Likes disappeared from his posts. One well-known singer posted a cryptic story about men who love the spotlight more than the woman standing next to them. Fans knew exactly who it was about. Behind the scenes, insiders say Teyana began opening up to close friends about things she'd never said out loud before. She admitted there were moments she felt invisible next to him, like she was providing warmth to someone who never truly let her in. One friend allegedly asked her a question that stopped her cold. Did he ever fight for you? She didn't have an answer. Then came another twist. A warning from the past. Someone from Aaron's extended circle reportedly reached out, claiming they had tried to warn Teyana early on not to expect depth, not to confuse presence with commitment. At the time, she ignored it. Now, those words echoed painfully. The more she reflected, the more patterns emerged. Appearances timed perfectly around his career milestones. Distance whenever things turned emotional. And yet, she stayed quiet publicly, protecting him even as she unraveled privately. Until one night. According to an insider, Teyana finally said out loud what she'd been holding back for months. She felt used. Not just romantically, but symbolically. As a bridge. As validation. As access. That admission reportedly stunned the room. Because once she said it, everything started making sense in a way that hurt too much to ignore. And just when it seemed like nothing more could surface, whispers began circulating about something far more explosive. Private recordings. Emotional arguments. Proof that the public had only seen the polished version of a story that was far messier behind closed doors. Nothing had leaked yet. But the fear that it could was enough to send panic through both camps. Because if those recordings exist, the next chapter won't just change opinions. It will change everything. By the time the rumors about recordings began circulating, the energy shifted from messy breakup to full-blown crisis. What was once speculation turned into paranoia. According to insiders, phones started going silent, lawyers started getting consulted, just in case, and conversations that once felt casual suddenly carried weight. Teyana wasn't threatening anyone. That's what makes it more terrifying. She wasn't angry anymore. She was calm. And people who know her say that calm meant she had reached a point of clarity that couldn't be undone. Sources claim the alleged recordings weren't dramatic scream fests the way fans imagined. That's what made them dangerous. They were quiet. Heavy. Long pauses. Teyana asking direct questions. Aaron deflecting with measured responses. One insider described a moment where she asked him why he never checked in emotionally unless cameras were nearby. His answer, allegedly, was silence followed by, "You know how my life is right now." That line alone, if it ever surfaced, would be nuclear. Because it wasn't denial. It wasn't reassurance. It was prioritization. As whispers grew louder, social media became a battlefield. Twitter threads exploded overnight, connecting dots with surgical obsession. Fans charted timelines of his career announcements against their public appearances together. The patterns were uncomfortable. Every major role announcement aligned suspiciously close to a red carpet appearance with Teyana. When the promo cycle ended, so did the visibility. TikTok creators stitched together montages, showing her beaming beside him while his expressions barely shifted. Millions of views later, the narrative was no longer neutral. It was accusatory. Behind the scenes, Teyana's circle reportedly urged her to stay quiet publicly. Not because she was wrong, but because the fallout would be ugly. They knew how this industry worked. They knew how quickly a woman's emotions could be weaponized against her. But something had already broken. According to a close friend, Teyana said she was tired of swallowing truth to keep someone else comfortable. She felt like protecting his image had come at the expense of her own sanity. Then came the insider leak that set everything ablaze. A person claiming to have worked adjacent to Aaron's team alleged that the relationship was always viewed internally as low risk, high reward. That phrase alone sent shockwaves through fan communities. Screenshots of the anonymous message circulated rapidly, dissected word by word. The source claimed Aaron was advised early on to keep things ambiguous, never fully commit publicly, never promise longevity. The reasoning: flexibility, image control, career momentum. No one could verify the source. But no one could ignore how well it fit the pieces already on the table. Aaron's response to the growing storm was, again, restraint. Almost clinical. No emotional outbursts. No defensive rants. Just carefully worded statements about privacy, mutual respect, and moving forward. To some, it read as maturity. To others, it felt like emotional evasion dressed up as class. Meanwhile, Teyana's energy shifted noticeably. She stopped posting altogether. No stories. No captions. Just silence. And that silence felt intentional, like the calm before a detonation. Celebrities began reacting indirectly. A well-known actress liked a tweet about women being emotionally exploited by men who love proximity to power. A producer unfollowed Aaron overnight. Fans noticed everything. Nothing went unseen. Every digital move became evidence. Every absence became suspicious. And then, out of nowhere, a cryptic message appeared on Teyana's close friend's story, according to someone who saw it before it vanished. 4 words. Truth always surfaces. No names. No context. But the implication was loud. Insiders say that post triggered panic behind the scenes. Calls were made. Damage control discussions happened late into the night. Because there was something else fans didn't know yet. Something that had nothing to do with optics, and everything to do with trust. According to a source extremely close to the situation, Teyana had discovered something after the breakup that reframed the entire relationship. Not cheating. Not another woman in the traditional sense. Something colder. Evidence that during moments she believed they were building something real, he had already emotionally checked out. The discovery reportedly came from a conversation that wasn't meant for her ears. A mutual acquaintance, speaking too freely, referenced Aaron talking about the relationship in past tense weeks before it officially ended. When confronted, he allegedly brushed it off as miscommunication. But for Teyana, that was the moment the floor dropped out. It meant the ending wasn't sudden. It was planned. And she was the last to know. As that realization set in, her emotional response shifted from grief to resolve. Friends say she stopped crying and started asking questions. Not to him. To herself. Why she ignored her instincts. Why she defended someone who never defended her. Why she mistook emotional distance for mystery. Those questions hardened into something sharper. Not revenge. Truth. The internet, meanwhile, grew ruthless. Memes mocked his silence. Threads accused him of emotional manipulation. Others pushed back, accusing fans of projecting narratives onto a private relationship. The divide was vicious. But what no one could deny was the imbalance. One person had loved loudly. The other had stayed untouched. An imbalance breeds resentment. Then came another alleged leak, this one more specific. A source claimed there was a conversation where Aaron admitted he avoided deep emotional attachment because it complicated his focus. If true, it would explain everything. The absence, the detachment, the careful control. And it would confirm what Teyana reportedly feared most, that she was never competing with another person. She was competing with his ambition. And she lost. As pressure mounted, fans began demanding Teyana speak publicly. They wanted confirmation. They wanted her side. They wanted blood. But she remained quiet, watching as the narrative twisted and mutated without her voice. Insiders say she was weighing something heavy. Not whether to speak, but how much to reveal. Because once she opened that door, there would be no going back. And then, late one night, a development shook everything. A well-known blogger hinted at having verified audio related to the breakup. No clips released. No names confirmed. Just a promise that if pushed, they would publish. The post went viral within minutes. Panic spread. Fans held their breath. Aaron's camp reportedly scrambled. And Teyana. According to someone close, she didn't flinch. Because if those recordings surface, they won't just expose emotional distance. They'll expose intent. And the moment that intent becomes public, the story won't be about a breakup anymore. It will be about who knew the truth, who hid it, and who finally refused to stay silent. By the time the blogger's hint about verified audio went viral, the entire situation crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. This was no longer fan speculation or gossip page theatrics. This was pressure. Real pressure. Insiders say phones rang non-stop that night, not from friends checking in, but from people trying to control what came next. Because if audio existed, it meant receipts. And receipts don't care about image. According to someone close to Teyana, she didn't celebrate the chaos. She didn't panic either. She sat with it. Calm. focused, almost relieved. For the first time since the breakup, the truth wasn't trapped inside her anymore. It was hovering in the air, and everyone felt it. Friends say she finally said the words that explained everything. "I'm done protecting someone who never protected me." That sentence spread quietly through inner circles, and the reaction was immediate. People who once stayed neutral began reaching out. Apologies came from those who dismissed her emotions early on. Even industry figures reportedly told her they now understood why she had gone quiet. Aaron's camp, on the other hand, grew noticeably more active. Statements were drafted. Options were discussed. Insiders claim there were conversations about framing the narrative as mutual misunderstanding before anything leaked. But there was a problem. Teyana wasn't playing defense. She wasn't responding to statements. She wasn't denying rumors. And that silence made everything louder. Because silence from someone emotional feels like defeat. Silence from someone resolved feels like a warning. Then something shifted publicly. Teyana returned to social media, not with explanations, not with accusations, but with a single, carefully chosen clip from an old interview. In it, she talked about knowing when to walk away from spaces where love feels conditional. No caption. No tags. The internet erupted. Fans knew exactly what it meant. That wasn't shade. That was closure on her terms. And it reframed the entire story. She wasn't asking to be believed anymore. She was done explaining. Celebrities reacted instantly. Some reposted the clip. Others commented heart emojis, fire emojis, solidarity without words. A well-known musician tweeted, "When a woman stops explaining, believe her." That tweet alone gained millions of views. Aaron's name trended again, but this time the tone had shifted. Less speculation. More judgment. People weren't asking what happened anymore. They were asking why. Behind closed doors, insiders say Aaron finally reached out directly. Not through teams. Not through statements. A personal message. What it said hasn't been confirmed, but a source claims it included regret, not for what happened, but for how it looked. That detail matters. Because according to the same source, Teyana didn't respond. Not because she didn't care. But because she finally understood something devastating. He still didn't get it. That realization was the final emotional break. Friends say she cried once more, not out of heartbreak, but out of release. The kind that comes when you accept that closure doesn't always come with accountability. Sometimes it comes with distance. And that's when she made a decision that shocked even those closest to her. She wouldn't tell her story all at once. She would let it unfold naturally. Piece by piece. Because the truth didn't need to scream. It only needed space. Meanwhile, the alleged audio remained unreleased, but its shadow controlled everything. Bloggers teased. Fans demanded. Aaron's public appearances became noticeably restrained. His interviews carefully deflected anything personal. Every answer sounded rehearsed. And the more controlled he appeared, the more the internet interpreted it as guilt. Not guilt of wrongdoing, but guilt of calculation. Of knowing he never showed up fully and hoping no one would ever call it out. Then came the most chilling detail yet. A source extremely close to the situation revealed that the recordings weren't explosive arguments. They were worse. They were moments of Teyana being vulnerable, talking about fear, trust, rebuilding after divorce, while Aaron remained emotionally distant, non-committal, focused on logistics. The kind of audio that doesn't paint someone as evil, just empty. And emptiness, when exposed, is impossible to defend. Fans began saying the same thing over and over. She loved him louder than he loved her. That phrase became a headline, a mantra, a verdict. And it hit because it felt undeniable. One person invested. The other accommodated. And accommodation is not love. As the days passed, Teyana's energy transformed. She began appearing radiant again. Focused. Grounded. Not healed, but no longer bleeding. Insiders say she feels lighter knowing she no longer has to shrink her truth to preserve someone else's comfort. And that's what makes this story so dangerous for the other side. Because she isn't trying to destroy anyone. She's simply refusing to lie. The internet, however, is not so restrained. Calls for the audio to drop grow louder by the hour. Blogs hint that if it doesn't come from her, it may come from someone else. And that's the real threat. Once control leaves the inner circle, no one decides how the story is told anymore. It becomes raw, unfiltered, permanent. As of now, nothing has been released. No recordings. No full statements. Just fragments. Just tension. Just the feeling that something irreversible is approaching. Because when a woman says she can't stay silent, silence is no longer an option for anyone involved. And the most unsettling part. According to insiders, Teyana hasn't even said the most painful part yet. She's still deciding if the world deserves to hear it. If you're still here, it's because you can feel it. This story isn't done, and walking away now means missing the moment everything finally cracks wide open. What's unfolding isn't just celebrity drama, it's a real-time exposure of truth, power, silence, and what happens when someone decides they're done carrying weight that was never theirs. Every hour, the tension grows. Every day, the internet inches closer to something irreversible. And when the next piece drops, it won't come with a warning. So don't be a silent observer. Hit like if you believe women shouldn't have to minimize their pain to protect someone else's image. Comment your thoughts, your theories, your reactions, because this conversation is shaping the narrative whether people admit it or not. And most importantly, subscribe right now. Not later. Not after the next leak. Right now. Because when the next revelation hits, the timelines will move fast, clips will disappear, stories will get edited, and only the people locked in will see it unfold in real time. This is one of those moments people will reference months from now and say, I remember when this first broke. Make sure you're not catching up after the fact. Stay connected. Stay watching. Because the silence is thinning, the truth is circling, and what comes next will hit harder than anything that's already surfaced.